This is The Close-Up. Conversations about creativity. From our studios in Los Angeles, here is Jim Chabin.
Irena Cronin is with us. She is president and CEO of InnovationCMS, a web development company. With an MBA from USC, she is a highly respected expert on emerging digital technologies and serves as a special VR editor for the Advanced Imaging and VR Societies here in Hollywood. We're thrilled that you could be with us. Irena, welcome.
Thank you so much for having me.
If someone were saying to you, Irena, I need to understand VR, could you show me or recommend that I look at 4 or 5 pieces of content or devices so that I better understand this? What would you recommend that they look at, that you've seen, that you say, okay, these are things that I think help convey the value, the potential power of this new medium?
Well, we have these short films now that were shown at the Tribeca Film Festival that are kind of like this empathy gainers, or documentarians that have a vision, that use VR to be able to present the world in a way that people can actually get closer to understand better. Not only do they have that vision, they want people to act on it. So this is the problem. You can gain empathy through the VR, but the action has to come after. So there's even more work that needs to be done there. The ones that were shown at the Tribeca Film Festival, Old Friend, which is excellent. And then you have My Mother's Wing by Gaba Aurora, which is a truly fantastic visual, gets you understanding right to your gut about pain.
Are these 10 or 15 minute experiences? Are they 1 hour experiences? What have you seen?
That's a
and
great question.
What do you think the length of this is going to be?
The length is currently an issue on all fronts, okay, for a number of reasons. There hasn't been enough experience with people sitting through, let's say, an hour-long feature, right. Okay. Both from a creative viewpoint, what do you do for an hour?
Right.
Okay, and then also for the kind of a physical aspect of perhaps some people getting tired. The technology has to catch up with these kinds of sense feelings that people have with VR. So features have been limited to smaller amounts of time, like 15 minutes, 20 minutes, 30 minutes, and pretty much nothing more than that.
You take out your iPhone. You probably have 20 apps on your iPhone. How many of those are entertainment apps? Well, I have YouTube, okay? Maybe that's entertainment. But the vast majority of the apps on my phone that I actually use solve a problem for me that I might otherwise spend more time and effort in booking a hotel room, making my calendar, booking a restaurant, finding out what time the movie is showing that I want to see tomorrow night. Are we in a situation where it's possible that a lot of the applications of VR are going to be almost like apps? They're things that you will do it in VR because it makes it easier by a significant amount. You'll put on a headset because it will allow you to do something that you otherwise wouldn't be able to do as well. Is that something that drives this?
I think that's the underground driver that people are not completely sensing yet. It makes a lot of practical sense to be able to view VR like that. I mean, you could be at a meeting and not be there, right? And all of you can do that together and get the same stuff done that you did before. And it's huge.
I had a cinematographer in his 80s, a French cinematographer, tell me last year at the annual meeting of cinematographers held in Poland every November. I said, what do you think about VR? And I fully expected him to say, I don't think it's any good. I don't know why this has nothing to do. He said, actually, I was interviewed for a position the other day and they gave me a headset and I was able to sit at the table with my interview, the director, who was in his office in Burbank, California, and we had a conversation and looked at storyboards together.
Yes.
And I was doing it from France and he was in Burbank. So here is this 80-year-old French cinematographer that I thought would be dismissive of any new technology, I was naive about that, who said, actually, I did a job interview doing
anything that you could do socially, you could do together with people in VR. And that goes across all kinds of different areas, whether it's business, whether it's recreation, watching a film together, like you said, going to movies together. There's someone working now that did Linden Labs before, did Project Sansar, which I think is going to be really huge, which is social VR. What I was saying before with WebVR and Google, that's 90 frames per second. And that's coming, and that's going to increase. And that's all going to be done very easily. So I think that is the killer app, actually. And that way you could do the storytelling through the social VR.
Okay, I want to switch subjects, and I want to ask you a marketing question. You have your MBA from USC, and you're the only person this week I'll talk to that has that kind of credential, so I'm going to tap into it. What do business people need to be thinking about the role that social media and digital technology is going to take in their conduct of business that makes it different than what they would have learned at business school 15 or 20 years ago? Instant
understanding. So when you have something that is presented to you in VR, it's not talked about, it's not written about, it's not disseminated through different types of marketing. It's there in front of you for you to instantly feel and see and sense and understand, and you get it directly, and it's fast. And you could build off of that, and it could become so much bigger in a very small amount of time. So I think that's what marketers are trying to do all the time. They want people to understand what is the value of the product or the brand that is put out by a company. And once you understand that, once you get it, you want to buy that thing. You want to do whatever the product is, what you can do with it. And the pricing of it, I mean, depending on the value, that's how much you end up want to pay and all this kind of stuff.
So those decisions are being made in nanoseconds.
Yes.
So building a long-term brand relationship with someone to sell them a product, that kind of strategy isn't relevant now.
I think long-term it's going to be constant, iterative, instant kinds of understanding of virtual reality and just like in your face, every day continuation of marketing. It's hard, I think, to understand in terms of like what traditional marketers are used to. They think they have to strive and work very hard and angle something in a certain way for people to understand. You do have to do that with virtual reality. You have to do it more effectively, though.
And faster.
Yes.
You are an expert, among other things, at websites, and everybody has at least one website that they look at once in a while. What is the most common criticism you have when you look at people's websites, and what does anyone here, and just about everyone watching this, either as a personal website or a company website that they're trying to use to grow their business or their career, what advice do you have about what makes a great website?
The biggest issue I have with websites is repetition. Okay, copycatting in terms of, let's say, everybody is using a certain way of presenting something. It goes from top to bottom, and they have these links, and you have the employee section, and then you have the history section, and it's very mundane. It's made, like I said, for people to understand the company or understand a product, but it becomes very boring very quickly. And unless it grabs you in a certain way, in a more creative way, the websites, they're just doing a very practical kind of thing with less marginal returns for branding. So I'll say that I think too many links on a web page are killer. I mean, killer in a bad way, okay? If you have links just going off in all directions, which is the way I've seen most websites going the last couple of years, people are not going to be pressing on all those links. You're going to be missing a lot of people, and they'll just move on to something else. They're bored. So boredom is the problem.
If you had to pick between marketing your message with social media or having a website, what would you pick?
Absolutely social media.
Yeah.
I mean,
a Facebook page beats a website any day.
I mean, it doesn't, right now it's Facebook. Who knows what it's going to be in the future?
Right.
This is so instant in terms of people coming to you to find out what you're doing. You know, you just present an idea and people are like, well, what is it? You know, you could generate all kinds of mystery by just putting out a fact about what you're doing and maybe doing it in a slightly creative way, and literally have thousands of people coming to find out what that is.
From all over the world.
Yes.
Right?
Yes, and there's no the destination, the website as a destination point is gone. That's the way I see it. I mean, it's there as an informational point.
Right.
You have to have something like that.
Yeah.
I mean, it's better than paper, right?
Yes, right.
But in the future, I think this is going to become more filmic. It's going to become video oriented. I think YouTube for marketing and anything that is like this, that is constantly updated, that is shown with interest and enthusiasm in a more creative format is the way that marketing is going.
So one thing that I think we can all agree is this is moving very quickly. Every day brings yet another story and another problem and another challenge. Just agree to come back again soon and help us understand this better. Thank you so much for being here.
Thank you so much for having me.
The Close-Up is produced by the Advanced Imaging and VR Societies in Hollywood and is powered by Barcode.